But why do we keep making excuses for Samson? I mean, I love his physique, don't get me wrong, but we have yet to see him bring conditioning that's Olympia and Arnold, worthy.
Yeah. That second place award to your runner-up, Samson Dauda.
Wow. Wow.
Hi guys, welcome back with the Arnold Classic 2025 Men's Open complete lineup result. 2024 Arnold Classic amateur winner Husamuddin from Libya made his pro debut this time, but he did not get any place as in the finals he did not show up. This time Justin Rodriguez was working with coach Justin Jacoby for Arnold Classic prep, and arguably he was downsized this time, but his midsection was improved. In 2021 Arnold Classic he was at 4th place, whereas this time he had to settle for last place in the contest. Patrick Moore was unable to bring his best version this time on stage. As he mentioned, leading up to the Arnold Classic he was looking very impressive, but given the erratic protocol really ruined his overall package. So presumably he wanted to bring a very crisp, sharp look on stage, but due to the excessive or wrong use of diuretics, he lost his size, the fullness, roundness, the pop of his physique, and he really looked flat on stage. 41 years old Patrick undeniably has phenomenal structure with very small, tiny waist. And I think he still has the potential to do well in the men's open bodybuilding. He could only take 10th place this time in his Arnold Classic Ohio return. The rising mass monster Carlos Thomas Jr. had to settle for 9th place in his Arnold Classic debut.
I placed myself in 3rd, ahead of Andrew in 4th.
He was aiming to crack top 3 and was very promising to bring his complete package this time. As he mentioned, he has improved his back drastically, but on stage, Carlos was unable to deliver a sharper package. Whereas arguably his back showed some improvements this time, but it's still his weak point. Otherwise, he could have been in the top 5. Carlos has incredible physique with humongous legs and phenomenal arms. But from my standpoint, his back development and especially his conditioning is not up to par to be a front runner of the show. He has all the potential for the men's open division, and hopefully he nails his package with right adjustments for his next show, Detroit Pro. One of the hardest working open bodybuilders, James Hollingshead, has finished taking 8th place in the event. This time many fans believed this would be his best package yet, and I think this was highly impressive version of James. His conditioning was on point. In the back shots he looked very outstanding with very sharp and detailed hamstrings. But realistically, from structure standpoint, he's not so blessed. He does not have very pleasing V-taper and midsection. Aside from that, he has a very imposing physique. He's also competing in the Detroit Pro, so let's see if he can earn his Olympia qualification there. The giant killer Sean Clorida had an amazing performance with insane conditioning, dense muscle bellies, and granite hard physique. Stepping on the Arnold Classic 2025 stage, Sean took on the challenge of competing against the big boys, the mass monsters, and he managed to outplace 4 athletes, scoring an impressive 7th place finish in one of the most prestigious bodybuilding shows. At 185 pounds, this was probably his biggest package on men's open stage. But from my standpoint, his muscle fullness was not at its absolute peak. His legs were very well separated, but I think he lost some size there, especially in the quad sweep. And his midsection was much better in his winning performance in Legend Sports Fest Pro 2021. But 42 years old Sean still carries a lot of dense hard muscles with extremely sharp conditioning, which makes him a serious contender whenever he steps on stage. Akeem Williams has been awarded with 6th place. He brought a fuller look on stage this time. His conditioning no doubt was very impressive. whereas I think his midsection could have been tighter and more streamlined. But still, it was an impressive package from Akeem. He was beaten by William Bonac, but many fans had Akeem higher than him. As from size standpoint, he was arguably superior to Bonac, and his conditioning was also on point, whereas undeniably Akeem is weak in the back shots. But in my opinion, in front and side shots, he was giving a very tough time to William Bonac. Almost 43 years old, William Bonac has managed to crack top 5 in the Arnold Classic 2025. His right tricep apparently has a very different shape this time. It looks like he has muscle atrophy there, or it could be a result of an injury, as last year there was no prominent change in the look of his tricep. Even in his recent physique updates leading up to the Arnold Classic, he did not have any strange look in the shape of his arm. His lats don't look as good as they used to be, possibly due to some muscle atrophy, but he still has very thick, dense, bubbly muscles with deep separation, and he brings a very sharp conditioning from front to back with tremendous details, which I think he is still very capable of swaying the judges and being a heavy hitter in one of the biggest bodybuilding shows. In a couple of weeks, Bonac will be fighting for Olympia qualification in Detroit Pro. Former Mr. Olympia Bandon has brought significantly improved package this time. His conditioning was improved and he was extremely vascular as well. Bandon has very cartoonish physique, very imposing structure and full round muscle bellies, and this time with much better conditioning, he was again fighting with the front runners of the show. Arguably, he does not have the same size and muscle fullness he had a couple of years before, and he has lost some of the tricep sweep in his left arm. But still, his superior structure, incredible muscle development, and relatively very small and well-defined midsection make him a serious threat on stage. This year, Bandon is going to attempt to win the Masters Olympia. So Andrew Jacked has taken solid third place behind the Mr. Olympia Samson Dauda. This was one of his best versions and he has made some prominent improvements. Arguably, Andrew was looking much better in the side shots. Especially his legs from side looked much better, had more details and muscle separation there. Guys, you can disagree, but in my opinion, this time Andrew had edge over Samson in the front double bicep, front lat spread and abs and thigh shots. As his conditioning was a lot better, he was harder with improved quads and he had much better separation and details in the arms. Whereas Samson was not in his best shape and his midsection was not fully under control, which really hampered his look in the front shots. Also, I think in the side shots it was close fight as Andrew was not behind, whereas Samson had all the fullness and size, but his conditioning was missing. He did not have enough details. Many fans had Andrew beating Samson Dauda this time, including coach Chris Aceto.
The legs from behind help Samson, whereas everything else, and everything else Samson, is losing to Andrew there. So I think he compared in prejudging really well. I actually would have had him possibly ahead of, based on conditioning and lack thereof, ahead of Samson.
Andrew is not as impressive in the back shots. He needs to have more details and sharpness, especially in the hamstrings area. This time Samson Dauda has brought most probably his biggest package on stage, weighing in at 306 pounds. From a size standpoint, his overall physique is improved. His legs look more complete from front to back, and especially he has improved his arms significantly since his last show, Mr. Olympia, with noticeably enhanced bicep peaks.
I didn't like his stomach yesterday. He was much better today, right? And those are the kind of things you cannot lose with the 300 pounds on the stage. Anything less than perfect flat stomach with deep abs.
Right, but why do we keep making excuses for Samson? I mean, I love his physique, don't get me wrong, but we've yet to see him bring conditioning that's Olympia and Arnold, worthy.
Whereas from conditioning standpoint, there was no improvements. Even his conditioning in Olympia was better. He has the height, incredible symmetry, sheer amount of mass, phenomenal structure, and very proportional physique. But his lack of conditioning gave Derek the clear chance to beat almost 70 pounds heavier the classic mass monster Samson. Otherwise, I don't think Derek could have beaten Samson if he had brought up proper conditioning. I think Samson could not peak well for the show, as he mentioned few weeks before the Arnold Classic that he's not chasing size anymore but conditioning. So it's safe to say it's really hard for Samson to nail his conditioning.
We don't worry about size anymore. The last prep we've had since 2023, Arnold, I believe, is all about conditioning. It's all been about conditioning. It's about getting harder each one. And every show we do, that's why we're harder each show, because we're pushing drastically to improve on that constantly. This Arnold is going to be we're going to be a lot harder. We're already harder than the Olympia right now, but we want to push it even further.
Fans compare him with Ronnie Coleman. I don't think he can have his level of conditioning, but with decent conditioning, he's undeniably very dangerous in the current era of bodybuilding. So Samson is going to have a complete focus on defending Mr. Olympia title against much shorter athletes but relatively a lot sharper than him, Hadi Choopan and Derek Lunsford.
That second place award to your runner-up, Samson Dauda.
Wow. Wow.
So Derek Lunsford came with a vengeance, and he brought his best package with significant improvements in his Arnold Classic debut. His chest, his abs were looking much better, his legs were drastically improved, especially his quad sweeps, and it has really improved the overall flow and balance of his physique. He has showcased very crisp muscle separation and very sharp conditioning, whereas Samson did not look as good as he was in the Mr. Olympia last year. But still, it was a very tough fight between top two, as Samson came with better conditioning in the finals. However, it was not enough to beat the new and improved version of Derek Lunsford. By defeating the reigning Mr. Olympia Samson Dauda, Derek has proven once again that he is a real threat for the Sandow Trophy at this year's Olympia. So this is going to be very interesting, as Samson will be defending his title in Olympia and Hadi Choopan is still in the mix, whereas Derek with his new version will be very dangerous at the 2025 Olympia. And this is going to be one of the most intense competitions in the bodybuilding history. So massive congratulations to Derek Lunsford for winning his first Arnold Classic title and winning $500,000 prize money. So that's all guys, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates.